Hello and welcome back to Listen to This. It's not easy being the queen, but if you have access to certain benefits and privileges, it can be a little bit easier. Queen Elizabeth II, however, enjoys a number of extraordinary privileges and is the only one who can exercise some of them. Today we will be going over them, so keep watching. Number 1. The monarch is permitted to drive without a license. The queen typically travels with a chauffeur, but occasionally she enjoys driving herself. Simply put, don't anticipate seeing her at the DMV. She is the only individual in the nation who is able to drive a car without a license and has never taken a driving test. Due to her history in the Second World War, she learned to operate a first aid truck for the Women's Auxiliary Territorial Service and also learned how to change spark plugs. Number 2. The queen can drive a car without a license plate despite everyone else needing their car to have one, for the simple reason that registration plates are also issued under the queen's authority. Number 3. When the queen is being escorted, speed rules do not apply to her, since the queen is being escorted by police personnel. She is also permitted to exceed posted speed restrictions under the Road Traffic Regulations Act. In Britain, speed limits don't apply to vehicles used for emergency services like police, fire and rescue, ambulances, or the serious organized crime agencies, as they might prevent these services from doing their job on time, even when the queen is not behind the wheel. The royal family is driven by police officers also, which makes them exempt from any speeding laws, but this is only when they are being driven around on official royal duties. Number 4. She is granted control over the royal attire. There are many dress codes for the royal family, from never going without tights, no bare legs ladies, to never wearing all black. It's only appropriate for funerals. On these issues, the queen has the last decision, and some of the rules are based on her personal taste. Number 5. Her Majesty is granted the right to go unnamed. Even though Queen Elizabeth was raised with the last name Windsor, after she inherited the kingdom, she changed her name to Elizabeth Regina and abandoned her previous name. The title Regina, which is used for official documents, is the Latin word for queen. However, most of the time, Elizabeth R alone suffices. Other members of the royal family are not required to use their legal last names either, even though they have one, which is Mountbatten Windsor. Number 6. She is even exempt from paying taxes. In addition to being the monarch of England, Queen Elizabeth is also one of the richest people in the country. Although she is not required to pay taxes because she is a sovereign, in 1992, the Queen volunteered to pay income tax and capital gains tax. With it becoming official in 1993, she is subject to the value-added tax and pay local tax rates also. Number 7. The Queen doesn't need to carry a passport when she travels, because all passports in the United Kingdom are issued in her name, and as a result, she is not required to issue one for herself. This applies to international travel as well. The Queen can travel anywhere in the world without a passport, but the same is not true for any other member in the royal family, including Prince Charles. Number 8. She has 2 birthdays to celebrate. Have you ever wished that you could have a birthday more than once a year? Queen Elizabeth benefits from this as a sovereign. Her royal birthday is commemorated on the 2nd Saturday in June with the Trooping the Color ceremony, although her genuine birthday is privately observed on April 21st. Number 9. She is the owner of abandoned swans in England. Yeah, you heard that right. The Queen of England officially owns all unmarked mute swans swimming in open waters. In the 12th century, the king at the time declared that animals have rights, which led to Queen Elizabeth having ownership of swans and other animals in her kingdom today. Number 10. The Queen is authorized to award knighthoods in honor of a person's achievements in business, art, science, military, or national service. While the ministers decide who it can be, it is only Elizabeth, as queen, that can bestow a knighthood onto a person. The investiture, also known as the ceremony, is presided over by the Queen at Buckingham Palace. Number 11. She can wear unique jewelry. Even though some items are owned personally by the monarch, others are regarded as crown jewels because they are used during coronations and other significant occasions. The royal collection includes the remaining items: Queen Elizabeth does, however, have immediate access to any piece she wants in the collections. Number 12. The royal cuisine is determined by the Queen. She has access to such a massive kitchen staff that she can eat whatever she wants, and she is presented with a menu to choose from twice a week. Number 13. She decides when dinner is finished. There is no time for idleness when dining at Buckingham Palace. That's because, in accordance with royal custom, after the Queen finishes her meal, the dinner is considered to be finished also. Number 14. Even the approval of royal marriage proposals is under the Queen's control. The first 6 heirs to the throne are required by the Succession to the Crown Act to obtain the Queen's permission before getting married or even engaged. Number 15. The monarch has its own ATM. Queen Elizabeth has a personal ATM in the basement of Buckingham Palace, so she will never have to deal with the inconvenience of trying to get to the bank before it closes. Only members of the royal family are permitted to use the cash dispenser, which is provided by the British bank Coutts, which was founded in 1692. Number 16. She has a poet of her own. The role of British Poet Laureate is immensely important. Despite the fact that it is essentially an honorary title, the person holding this position is required to produce poems to remember important occasions. While the position used to pay in barrels of wine, I am sure the compensation is much better now. Number 17. Queen Elizabeth always takes a doctor on the road. She has visited more than 110 nations on 6 continents. If the region doesn't have a sufficient blood bank, it is stated that she brought her own supply of blood for emergencies, and her doctor also keeps a defibrillator on hand. Number 18. She adores Corgis and has owned more than 30 of them during her reign. She received her first Corgi, Susan, for her birthday in 1944 when she was 18 years old. Whisper was her last Corgi, but died in 2018. Candy and Vulcan are her 2 dogs she currently has. They are Dorgies, which are a cross between a Corgi and a Dachshund. Number 19. While in office, all British heads of state are also subject to the sovereign immunity rule, which protects the monarch during their whole life. Additionally, she has diplomatic immunity, which protects her from arrest in other nations. If the Queen did commit a crime, the Crown would need to be targeted by the prosecutors as an executive, which would force the Queen's ministers to act on her behalf and even accept the punishments determined for the crime. The worst case scenario being that the Queen would be abdicated, which has not happened since King Charles after the English Civil War. Number 20. She has the authority to create governments because without one, Parliament would not exist. This formation of government is called the Kissing of Hands meeting, in which the Queen formally requests that the newly appointed Prime Minister agree to form a government, which takes place at Buckingham Palace. Number 21. In case of serious constitutional crises, Queen Elizabeth has the authority to disregard or override any government advice. Most of the time, the Queen exercises her political authority after consulting her ministers, but there are some rare occasions when she may choose to go against their advice or take independent action. Number 22. She is able to dismiss and fire the whole Australian government. The Queen has authority over the Australian government because she is the head of state. After a government shutdown in 1975, the Governor-General, Sir John Kerr, the Queen's representative in Australia, removed the Prime Minister. Later, he ended up dissolving the remainder of the legislature and forcing fresh elections to be held. Number 23. The Queen is head of her own religion. The English Church is led by the Queen of England. King Henry VIII's 16th century renunciation of the Roman Catholic Church led to the establishment of Britain's official religion, which has been led by the British monarch since 1534. Since she is the Queen, Queen Elizabeth has the authority to name bishops and archbishops as part of her role as supreme administrator of the Church of England and as defender of the religion. However, she can only use this authority after consulting the Prime Minister, who receives his guidance from the Church Commission. This means that in order to succeed to the British throne, a person must be confirmed member of the Church of England. Number 24. She can give away a special kind of money to elderly people. This money is silver money and called Mandy money, which the Queen can give to pensioners every Easter in a unique ceremony held at the UK Cathedral. Every year, the number of recipients corresponds to the age of the sovereign. For example, when the Queen turned 91, she gave Mandy money to 91 pensioners. Although these silver coins are legal tender, and even though they come in 3 and 4 pence denominations, they are rare and don't usually enter circulation. Number 25. As Queen, she is exempt from jury duty and does not have to take part in that service. For the common person, when evading jury duty, it can result in a fine up to £1,000. For the Queen, it is not mandatory because the Criminal Justice Bill claims that it might disrupt the Queen from her duties if she were to call to serve. Even the Queen's immediate family were exempt from this duty until 2003, which after that, the law was amended to only protect the Queen herself from being submitted. The Queen is also exempt from giving evidence in court. Number 27. She is allowed to choose and call the Prime Minister. While the Queen is required to stay out of politics, there are some circumstances in which she might have to make decisions about who will succeed the Prime Minister, such as if he or she resigns or passes away. As Queen, with the power to choose the Prime Minister, she typically chooses the party that won the most seats in the House of Commons. As the contact is absolutely confidential, she can also call the Prime Minister to discuss current events in the government and voice her opinions. Number 28. The Queen has legal custody of all her grandchildren. While regular grandparents would have to make submissions and court visits to obtain custody of their grandchildren, the Queen does not need to do this and has the ability to take her grandchildren away from their parents if she deems it necessary. This rule dates back 300 years when King George made it because he did not have a good relationship with his son. Number 29. The entire royal family is immune from the Freedom of Information Act since the Queen is the head of state. The royal family website states that the royal household is not a public authority as defined by the Freedom of Information Act and is therefore excluded from their requirements. This means that the royal family has much more greater privacy when it comes to their finances and daily activities. For instance, the United Kingdom lacks access to specific information regarding the royal family's use of public money or the extent which it has an impact on legislative decisions. Number 30. Only Queen Elizabeth has ever had her picture appear on money from several different countries. With 35 different currencies now featuring her, she currently owns the Guinness World Record for having the most different currency images. She is the only living person whose image appears on this variety of global currency. Alright, that was the last one. Leave a comment below to tell me what you think. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and be sure to turn on bell notifications so you don't miss any videos just like this one. If you enjoyed this video, let me know, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching!